how to recognize, how to diagnose, how to treat, and how to lead a normal life. Friends, asthma is not a disease. It is actually a tendency. You must have heard the term called allergy. Allergy is the defense mechanism of a body, which is called immune mechanism. When it overreacts, that is called allergy, or in crude terms it can also be called hypersensitivity. When it occurs in the skin, we call it allergic dermatitis. When it occurs in the nose, we call it allergic rhinitis, or frequently called cold. When it occurs in the eyes, we call it allergic conjunctivitis. And when it occurs in our tubes of the lung, what is called as bronchi, it is called asthma. So asthma is a disease in which person gets cough, difficulty in breathing, wheezing, and chest tightness, and it occurs in response to some trigger to the persons who have such kind of tendency. So how common is asthma all over the world? The asthma is prevalent in something like 1 to 26% of the world population. In Australia, in one study it was 26%, in Tunisia it was 1%. But if we talk about India, the prevalence of asthma is something like 3 to 10%. The school-going children in Delhi, the incidence of asthma is something like 16%. What does that mean? It does not mean that 10% of the people are coughing all the time. They have a tendency for asthma, and whenever there are triggers, then asthma attack gets precipitated. So what are those triggers? The commonest triggers are pollens, house dust, viral infections, fungi, tobacco smoking, air pollution, and others. Out of this, house dust mite is the commonest. So what are these house dust mites? These mites are present in the carpets, in the mattresses, in the pillows, in the old books, in the clothes which are stacked. And whenever we are exposed to these mites, then asthma attacks gets precipitated. The asthma is diagnosed by symptoms which I have already described. But as I said, there is obstruction to the airways. There is inflammation of the airways, because of which the airways become narrow. So to diagnose it, we do a test what is called as spirometry or lung function test, in which we ask a person to take a deep breath and blow into a machine, and computer gives us the caliber of the airways. And when we document that there is airway obstruction, then we give bronchodilators in the form of nebulization or MDI inhalers, and after 10 minutes we repeat the test. And what we find is that the airway obstruction gets relieved. That is, the tubes which were narrow become normal, and that establishes the diagnosis of asthma which has a reversible airway obstruction. Now, patients with asthma keep getting these attacks in response to triggers. Sometimes they are recognized, sometimes they are not recognized, sometimes even the emotional stress can precipitate an attack of asthma. So how do we manage it, or how do we treat it? As I have already said, it's a tendency, so therefore the management has to be lifelong. And I want to emphasize today that it is possible to lead a normal life with asthma and achieve all the heights in life which anybody can achieve. And to give you some example, if you talk about physical fitness, we have P.T. Usha, who is the best athlete of the country, who has asthma. We have Ian Botham, cricketer, and we have the most prominent star of the country, Amitabh Bachchan, who have asthma but achieved everything. So how does it happen? It is because of optimum management. The management of asthma is by medication, which is by aerosol therapy. To understand this, when you want to treat infection of the eyes, you put drops. When you want to treat inflammation of the skin or infection of the skin, you put some local cream. Similarly, this is an inflammation of the airways. To treat it, we have to deliver the medication in the bronchial tree, that is the airways. We can do it by aerosol therapy. The advantage of aerosol therapy is that you give medicine in a very small quantity and it minimally goes into the system, leading to minimum or no side effects. So now I will demonstrate to you as to what medicines to be taken and how we should take it. There are two types of medications. One are controller medication, which are anti-inflammatory, that is, you control the inflammation in the lung. And second medications are reliever medication, that is, they relieve the airway obstruction, that is called bronchodilation. So, the technique of aerosol therapy is most important. Our lung has small tubes. Our windpipe divides into two and it further divides 23 times. So what we want is that the drug should reach the lowest part of the lung. That is why the technique is important. So I will demonstrate to you how we take the aerosol therapy, and whatever you may do, only 10 to 15% of the aerosol that you are using will reach the area where it becomes effective. The most commonly used device for aerosol therapy is what is called meter dose inhaler. This is called MDI. Now there is a specific technique to take this aerosol therapy. When you buy a new canister of MDI, commonly it is called puff. So you have to remove the cover and then shake it. Shake it vigorously for 30 seconds. What you are doing by shaking is that there are two things in this canister. One is a drug and second is a propellant. If you don't shake it properly, only the propellant will come out. Whenever you have a new canister, you have to discard two puffs because initially the medicine may not be there. And subsequently, when you have shaken it well, you breathe out, hold it in your mouth, then hold your breath for 15 seconds. So, if you do this, then you have done it, that 10 to 15% of the medication will go into your lungs. And when we say that you take two puffs, that means you take one puff, wait for 2 to 5 minutes, then again shake the canister and take another puff. Now some people are not able to do this because of the age, some are the young children, they are not able to take a very deep breath, not able to actuate the puff at the right time. In that case, for that we have what is called as holding chamber. Commonly it is called spacer. What it does is that the medicine gets stored in this chamber and one can take a breath without bothering about the timing, or what is called as actuation. So again you have to shake the canister and then put it in this hole, put your mouth here, then press it and then take 3 deep breaths. If you take, again you have to take a breath like this, so if you take 3 breaths, the whole medicine which is there in this chamber goes into the system. Besides this, there is another way of taking inhalational therapy which is also very useful, is this called dry powder inhaler, commonly called Rotahilar. This contains in this a capsule is used. As you can see in my hand, this capsule has 2 parts. One is transparent, other one is colored. So what you have to do is that put the transparent portion down, press it with your finger, then rotate it so it breaks, and then again you have to breathe out gently and take a deep breath, and I will demonstrate it to you. Again hold your breath. So with this, the whole powder which is there, it goes into your lungs. The younger people who have got a good breathing capacity can use it. It's very easy to use and also it's very effective. Now there are some people who are say 70, 80 years old who are not able to take deep breath, their lung capacity is limited. They neither can take puffs with spacer nor can take MDI. For that, there is an electrically operated machine called nebulizer, and this is a nebulization machine which is operated by electricity. This is very easy to use. This is used for people who are unable to take a deep breath or unable to time it. And this is the machine, this is the mask, and this is the chamber, and you have to put the medicine, and the medicine comes in the plastic ampule. You have to break the ampule, put the medicine into this, cover it with this, start the machine, put the mask around you. In 5 to 7 minutes, the whole medicine goes into your lungs. This is a very easy way of taking medicine, but it should be reserved for emergency situation and for the people who are unable to take puffs or unable to take dry powder inhaler effectively. So if you take the medicine by aerosol therapy, you are taking medicine in only microgram, so therefore there are minimum or no side effects. Now commonly asked question is that does these medicine contain corticosteroids? And everybody is scared of corticosteroids because it has several adverse effects. It does cause, when taken in tablet form, it does cause gastric ulcers, it does cause hypertension, sometimes diabetes also, and also osteoporosis. But when you take it through inhalational form, the steroids are in micrograms and it does not cause any significant side effects. Now, these medicines are not to be taken for lifelong. In children, the asthma gets controlled by the age of 13 years. 50% of the children will be of asthma, and for the whole life they do not have asthma. But for some patients it has to be taken for a long time. Finally, prevention is very important. We must prevent exposure to triggers, and as I have said, this could be pollens, this could be house dust mites, this could be change of season, this could be chilled water, this could be emotional stress. So everybody knows, and sometimes it can be the food article also, especially the coloring agents or artificial coloring agent which are put in the food can be a triggers, and all these things should be avoided. So if you treat your asthma properly, then you can lead a normal life. You can do whatever you want. There is no reason for not to go for sports. Children should be encouraged to play. They should be encouraged to participate in all activities, and see your doctor at a regular interval. Thank you very much.